Welcome to the special show of chess.com India for the FIDE Online Chess Olympiad 2021. India won the round 1 with 6-0 against Egypt. The head start Indian team got. Round 2 was surprisingly a draw against a France team 3-all, where India had chance कि शायद वो विदित भाई वो last game जीत जाए और 3.5 2.5 end करे, but shout out to Gozili Yannick who defended that portion quite well. But it did not cost India many problems as Azerbaijan also drew round 2, and in the round 3 India won convincingly against Sweden 4-2. It was difficult selecting between the games of Adiban and Nihal as they played quite well on the day 1, AD winning 2 out of 2, and Nihal played only one game, but I really like that game. So let's have a look at the game international between Grandmaster Nihal Sarin and International Master. It was difficult selecting between Adiban's game and Nihal's game as AD won 2 games very nicely on day 1, and Nihal played only one game, he got only one chance, but he converted really nice. So let's have a look at the game between Grandmaster Nihal Sarin and International Master Panzer from Sweden, who played quite well in round 2 of Olympiad, defending International Master from Belarus. So Nihal was white, he started with 1 NF3, D5 was played, a solid approach, E3 and F6, C4. Nihal was trying to play his typical setup, which he likes to play a lot on while playing online chess and typically on chess.com. So E6 played here, trying to go in some Queen's Gambit setups, and C3, trying to keep flexibility to go B3 or to go into any D4 lines or Maron setups. His opponent went for B6, which was a little bit surprising, as the main lines goes like bishop e7 or bishop d6, or they try to play like knight d7. He chose b6, and here Nihal could have opted for b3 or d4, but Nihal indeed played d4 first, but after bishop b7, Nihal decided to take on d5. Because here, like the bishop is blocked if he takes with the pawn, and if he takes with the knight, then simply you can go bishop b5, bishop d3 stuff, or even you can take and just play bishop d3. So in the game, e5 was played, which is quite natural. Now Nihal played bishop b5 check, which is quite interesting. You give a check, and he provoked the c6. And after this, the bishop is a little bit of dumb, and he just came back to d3. I really like this of doing this intermediate move in between, giving a check and making the bishop a more weak, or let's say bad bishop. So bishop d6 was played, most active position for the bishop, castle. This was normal. And now e4. This is also quite interesting. After this, white is simply threatening e5, so black has to take, and okay, white is slightly ahead in the development. Maybe he will go bishop e3, bishop g5, and black still has to develop his pieces. So black goes knight d7, bishop g5, knight f6, and the position looks normal. Here comes the interesting move, rook to c1, and this is a typical idea, trying to attack the c6 pawn. Maybe black can go rook c8, queen a4, but here black played a very nice move, h6. The idea is if white takes on f6, queen into f6, takes, and here black has one cute tactic, bishop into h2, winning an exchange here, and this is simply good for black. So Nihal cannot do this, or maybe he just missed this one. But I really like the way he approached to this. He gave the bishop takes. As guys, I need to mention, you cannot play bishop h4 as there is a g5, and if you serve the bishop, you lose the e4 bishop, and if you play ng5, then black has simply knight e4. Here black cannot really play g5, because if g5, knight into g5, and black has one strong shot, knight into e4, and if you are spotted only knight into e4, queen into h4, and into d6, you have done it wrong, guys. There's a bishop into h2 coming in, king into h2, queen into h4, and black winning a piece. So this wasn't working. So Nihal has to go bishop into f6, queen into f6, and now comes the move queen a4, attacking the c6 pawn. There is no way in which black can play c5 as the bishop is hanging, and if he plays rook c8, the a7 pawn falls. So he has to either play rook fc8, after which maybe Nihal could have just played rook c3 and doubling the rook. In my opinion, black needs to equalize this position by playing rook c7, c5. Maybe Nihal could have opted rook e1 in that case. But in the game, we saw that his opponent played b5, as it was very much tempting to attack the queen and protect the pawns simply. Nihal goes queen c2, threatening bishop into c6, as there are now number of attackers are 3. So he has to defend. Black goes rook c8, rook e1, maybe knight e5 idea, bishop e5, d e5, and there is no queen e5 as this check. Rook e8 played, bishop h7. I really like this move as well. यहाँ पर अगर किंग h8 जाओगे आप, तो bishop f5 you can just play, और आप एंड गेम में हमेशा एक मूव आगे रहोगे. और अगर जैसे किंग f8 गेम में खेला गया, Now bishop f5, and many times you will see this c5 square पे कभी check आएगा. For example, knight e5 is possible, takes is possible, and some check will come, and you will take with the pawn or with the rook or some tactical shot. Always the bishop cannot go, and the king is and also sometimes the bishop goes somewhere and the queen can enter like this. So disturbing the king from here was a good idea, and this intermediate check is the move which I like after bishop b5. So rook e1, rook e1, rook e8, and black just wanted to equalize and try to hold against Nihal, as their team maybe strategy was to make a draw on the juniors board. So rook e8 was played here, and rook e8, king e8. Now the position looks more or less equal, the same number of pieces. Maybe you are thinking that Nihal has isolated pawn and black has double bishops, but guys, there's only one good bishop here, and the other bishop is behind the pawn. So Nihal just plays bishop e4 and putting more pressure on the pawn, and now bishop into this is a threat, as it's a check. There is no time for bishop into h2. So black player goes king f8. Now I really like the next move by Nihal, g3, simply preventing any tactical possibility with bishop into h2, and there is a bishop into 6 threat right now. So take, and white is winning a pawn. Apart from that, also it covers the f4 square. There is no queen f4 possibility. So after g3, bishop b8, trying to defend the pawn. There was any other good way, because if bishop c7, then this check comes and you lose the pawn. So also he has to guard the a7 pawn. Nihal simply plays queen c3 with the ideas of knight e5, or at least taking control of the dark squares, which Nihal was lacking earlier. So with this, he controls the light square with the bishop and the dark square with the queen. Queen e6 played, knight e5, just trying to get good bishop versus bad bishop if he takes. And he has to take because the pressure is more on the pawn, and if he don't play, he is losing the pawn. So he takes, g6 played, trying to make some room for the king if this check comes. And guys, let me tell you, if black takes queen takes a2, what happens? There's this beautiful check coming in, and if you go king to g8, there's a queen e7, and it's a checkmate, apart from attacking the bishop. So if there's a queen e6, just queen e8 is a mate, and bishop controls the h7. So it's game over. And if he goes king e8, okay, black can just take on c6, queen c6, and he gets some more pawns, and okay, there are some checks which you have to take care about, and slowly he will be up a pawn. This could have been tried, but it was a risky option for black, as he's just giving up the pawn. g6 played, a3, simply defending the pawn. Here he plays a5, a good move if he plays only a5, but not after f4. As okay, here if you take the a5, there's a queen into e5, and you get the central pawn for the side pawn. So it's always a good deal for black. But Nihal is never gonna take that. Nihal just plays f4, and guys, look at this king. Maybe this king is just gonna have a cakewalk over the king side. So now, and this pawn is attacked, so he needs to defend, and there is no good way in which black can protect the a5 pawn with the queen. So he pushes the pawn to a4, and now this makes his bishop more bad, and like this is pure classic example of a good bishop versus a bad bishop. Let's see how we convert this. King g2, improving the king. King e8, black also trying to improve the king. Nihal goes king f2. He could have directly played king f2 as well, but he just didn't want to give any chance of playing queen h3. But now if queen h3, there is a bishop into c6 check, so he don't need to calculate simply. So he just goes like this, and he definitely has some time to improve his position, as black is completely passive and not doing much. So king d7 played, and now he plays queen c5, making sure that he cannot play queen to any dangerous square, because this check, and just take here with checks. King c7, also preventing any queen b6 ideas. And now black queen is ready to move, as he guards the b3 c6 pawn. Now h4 played. If now queen h3 is not harmful, because just give some checks and take the pawn, or queen e7 check and take the pawn. And we do have bishop g2 in the end if queen h2 check. So this time he decides to go to b3, attacking the b2 pawn. Now Nihal plays queen d6 check. In the game, king b6 was played, but if black plays king c8, here there are many ways to break this position. Especially first, white can play queen d4, defending the pawn. Let's say king c7 again. There are hardly any good moves for black. And now, like maybe h5 or f5, maybe h5 first, and okay, you take, and simply playing f5, and you trying to create pass pawn, or let's say queen d6 check in the future, and maybe get this one, and the king will have run. or just simply e6 and some ideas with f6, just like in the game. So h5 is one possibility, or also if white doesn't want to sacrifice the pawn, he can also go f5, takes, and with the idea of queen d6, and at some point maybe he will give the pawn, or just create a passed pawn by playing g4, g5, and the h passed pawn. For example, king b8, bishop e4. He stays, and okay, he can just push, and if queen something like queen h3, he can give check. King goes here, and 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 take the pawn. So in the game, queen d6 was played, king d6, queen d4, king c7, and Nihal got the same position without actually wasting a move, and it's white to play. So he directly plays h5, going for his main plan, gh5, and now look at the black structure. Like these pawns are isolated, and these pawns are making the bishop bad. So it's a very nice and beautiful pawn structure, a very nice and beautiful example in general. f5, trying to create a passed pawn, queen c4, and this was the final mistake. And now he can just take and play king e3. King is coming here, and he can just take the pawn. Okay, he needs to be careful about this, but in general the structure is so bad that black cannot do much. In the game, he plays king b6, e6, and this is just queening. If he takes f6 and f7, f8, here black player resigned as he cannot stop the queen. And if you know the square rule, this is very simple. So king has to be in this much square to control the queening square, or you can also put it like this. If black could have not played queen c4, in that case, for example, अगर h4 खेलता है, तो gh4 is possible. Just queen h3, and just like queen d6 check. For example, king goes here, and white player can just take. And if queen h2 check, we do have bishop g2. And if queen into pawn, just queen e3. Okay, I'll just show you in short, and just white is winning because the pawn is cannot be stopped. The h pawn is very deadly, and the king is so far. So thank you all for joining in, guys. That was Nihal on day 1 for India. India at currently number 2 position with 5 match points, 2 wins and a draw, and Hungary is leading with 6 points. Thank you for watching.